If we don't see how Christianity kind of allows us to experience this joy, this satisfaction, right, this abundant life, in a way it's going to just Christianity comes across to us as a burden, right? Lewis would sometimes say that, throughout history, we've had lots of great teachers, from Confucius to Aristotle to Plato, right? Buddha, whatever it is. And he says, right, we've never been very good at following them. So if all Christianity offers is an even better teacher, we're even less likely to follow him, right? And this is where eventually he'll get into the idea that, right, Christ doesn't come merely as a teacher, but as a redeemer. But when we think about this idea of redemption, Lewis wants us to think about it's that idea that our deepest desire would be so superabundantly filled that we would just be overflowing with joy. Kind of, right? What more? It's like Lewis, when he was 10 years old, his mother, died from cancer. He was very hurt, distraught, wounded. He even describes how at that moment he went back to God and he prayed for his mother's healing. But he really thought of God as a magician. Give me my mom back. And of course, that's understandable for a 10-year-old. But as an adult, he realized we can't merely go to God asking God to give us what we want, because what we want is too little. All we want is our own kind of home, our own comfort, right? We're made for something greater. We're made for infinite communion with God and ourselves and with our neighbor. So then let us consider this again, now with this understanding of this dialectic of desire. What Lewis says is, now let's turn at the promises of glory that Christ offers us. Now, the first thing he wants to say is it the case that kind of Jesus is bribing us, right? Or that wanting heaven is merely mercenary, as though, marrying for money is not, it's not praiseworthy. No, he says that there are different kinds of rewards. There are those that are extrinsic, like often money, but then there are those rewards that are proper. They're not really other than the very activity, but they're simply the activity itself, as he puts it, in its consummation, right? Marriage and the joy of marriage is the proper reward of a lover. Even says victory in battle is the proper reward of a general. So there are rewards that are the joy and the excitement. Sometimes even now in productivity literature, they'll call it flow, right? When you're so caught up in doing something that you enjoy that you lose track of time, right? And again, think about this in terms of the overall background, right? In the modern age, so many people don't really desire heaven because they find heaven boring, right? They can't imagine the excitement of it. And what Lewis is trying to get us to recognize is that heaven is the greatest activity we could ever enter into, right? If falling in love is thrilling, if making a new friend is thrilling, right? To be with God forever would be that perfection of falling in love. It's like we'd be falling, sometimes people talk about that. How can you be falling without, increasing? But if you think about what does it mean when something orbits the earth? Well, it's actually just continually falling around the earth, but it just keeps going and going. So to be in God's presence in heaven would be, right, the most exciting, thrilling adventure that we could ever be on. So this, in a way, is what Christ promises, right? That we kind of can dwell with the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit as children of God. Now, when Lewis considers in the promise of glory, he says there are two problems that he first felt about glory. First was that glory was a kind of fame, but that trying to become famous, again, didn't seem very virtuous or very satisfying. And secondly, he thought of it as somehow glory is shining, but as he puts it, being an electric light bulb in heaven doesn't seem very attractive.